post. I was going live at 9 p.m. I'm a tad early. It's saying 8:59 p.m. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about time. I don't know what time it is. But did you know, everybody, if you're here to learn about or talk about with me about black bears and black bear biology, black bear ecology, current events around black bear having to do with black bear, just research about black bear. And if you're here to learn about baiting black bear, how to bait black bear, where to go about what to establish a bait site, what to look for when establishing a bait site and all that, then you've come to the right place. And did you know, everybody, that the black bear, they are an extremely intelligent animal. The state of Maine's black bear biologist, Randy Cross, firmly believed from the 30 plus years of research that he's done on these critters, the black bears, he firmly believes, and not only him, but also all those other biologists that worked under him and with him and that had learnt from him, they all firmly believe that the black bear is the smartest animal in all of the Maine forest. And not just only the state of Maine, but anywhere in the nation for that matter. I've learned from a lot of things I've read, biology reports, like from Randy Cross himself, and listen to podcast stuff, and just everything that I've learned about black bear and all that I've read about black bear. I've found out that they're so smart, in fact, that they have the ability to reason, to like rationalize. And let me give you an example here about their ability to rationalize and to reason. So that example that I want to share with you, let's say now, for instance, that me and you were setting up a bait site in a really good area, an area in the state of Maine that is loaded with black bear, where the black bear density is pretty high. There's probably a good chance that there's at least one bear per square mile in this area where we're establishing our bait site, and that's really good for bear population. And me and you, we set up our path. We've gone in and cleared path to the spot where we want to set our bait barrel, and we're carrying in our buckets of donuts, cookies, and trail mix and such. And we've got our sprays and scents that we're going to spray in the leaves and branches above and on the tree trunk. We've got our old fryer-lated grease with our super concentrated scent, a little cap full of scent that we put in the grease to add extra scent and attract it to that grease. And we're going in. Let's see, Easton says hi. Hey Easton, how you doing? Thanks for chiming in. I'm hoping Jason comes on here, and that Jamie from Saskatchewan, Jordan Ball. Hey Jordan, how you doing, buddy? Hunter Shaw. Thanks for coming on, Hunter Shaw. I think these are all newcomers, but if you guys stick around here, Easton, Jordan, Hunter Shaw, Jason will come on here. This guy from Saskatchewan, some guys from Eustis, Stratton, Maine area. There's others that will come on here. They're going to chime in here. They'll share some super cool tips and tactics on baiting black bear, how to go about finding and establishing a great bait site for bear hunting, and they have some good insight stuff too. So I like to converse with all my viewers. If you guys have questions, please drop that below. Comment, put in the comments your questions and any cool baiting tips or tactics for baiting black bear, or bear hunting tips or tactics that you have. Please drop them in the comments, and I'll read them out loud so others that are on here can hear what you have to say. But anyway, I want to carry on with my example about just how smart and intelligent these animals are. The fact that black bear can reason and rationalize. I'm sharing an example about that. And this stems from what I just mentioned earlier. If you just come on here, I was talking about Randy Cross, the state of Maine biologist. He was studying these bear for over 30 years. He's retired now. He firmly believed that the bear were the smartest animal in the woods and all of the forest. Now, so me and you, this is going back to my example that I was sharing. Me and you are going out to a really well-known area in the state of Maine that's got a good high bear density. It's a great place to bait black bear, to fill our bear tags. But where you've set up our trail, this is going to be our baiting path. We're going to go use every morning. We're going to go in with our buckets half full of donuts, and another bucket probably half full of trail mix, say. We want to... number one rule to baiting black bear, a really good tip here that I'm going to share with you right now. I'm pausing on this story and experience that I'm sharing with you, is keep your baiting regimen to a T. Always stick to your baiting pattern. Go to that, wherever bait sites you're baiting, go to those bait sites the same time frame, within several minutes of either side of the hour. If you go at 9 a.m., go at 9 a.m. every day, every morning. It could be 9:05 or 8:55, but be right around that 9 a.m. hour every morning when you go to that, whichever bait site it is. There could be another bait site you go to at 10 a.m. But go at the same time every day. Use the same path that you go into bait every day. Park your truck or four-wheeler side by side or bike or whatever it is you use for transportation, or if you're just walking, parking far away, and maybe you're walking a mile in, always just do everything the same. Have your patterns be the same. Use the same food, same scents. Every time you switch up attractant scents, food scent, attractant scent, that could put a bear on high alert. Anything you change at a bait site is going to put the bear on high alert and make them a lot more nervous. And their anxiety is going to go up. They're going to be more reluctant to come in daylight and stuff. You may end up turning the bear nocturnal because you've changed things drastically. You change your pattern. So that's a really important tactic here in baiting. Keep it very much the same. Keep your patterns the same. The timing, where you park, where you walk, and the sounds, noises you make at bait. So if you are baiting with a barrel and you're banging your bucket to get any stuck on food and stuff out of your bucket into the barrel, bang 3 times. And bang 3 times every time. Don't go banging 5, 10, 8 times, making extra noise that's unnecessary. If you banged 4 times, your bucket on the side of the barrel, bang 4 times each and every morning. And then also, a lot of times I sometimes take a stick and hit the barrel 3 times to make it sound like a dinner bell. That's like a dinner bell to the bear. Everything you do, if you stick to the same pattern, you're teaching them bear. This is transitioning very well and smoothly into my example I was given the example I was given as to just how well the black bears can rationalize and reason here, and how smart they really are. Their reasoning here, you're educating these bear when you're baiting them. They're pretty much able to reason here and say, okay, this strange creature just put food in the barrel. So in a couple hours from now, I'm gonna go out and eat. And they're paying attention to all the sounds and sight, things they're seeing, things in the scents, the smells, the things they're smelling. They're taking all this in to their brains. They're remembering certain sounds, and they're remembering certain scents, and they're remembering certain tastes, and just everything in general. You're teaching them that every time you park where you park, and every time you walk where you walk, and every time you pick up that barrel, straighten it out, pour the food in that barrel, and bang 3 times on the side of that barrel, you're teaching them that there's food there for them, but if you, let's say you changed your tactics, your approach, and instead of going in at 9 a.m. in the morning, each and every morning at 9 a.m. to the bait site, let's say you go in at noontime. Yes, black bear can show up to your bait sites at noon or 1 in the afternoon, 2. They can show up to your baits at all different times of the day, because black bear need a mature adult black bear that's 200 pounds or more. They can consume over 20 pounds of food a day. and that's like 25,000 to 30,000 calories a day of food that they need before the upcoming winter months, before denning season and stuff. And so they're in there living life to the fullest. They're gorging themselves on your bait, thinking life's grand. And all of a sudden, instead of going in at 9 a.m. to freshen your bait, you decide to go in at noontime. But lo and behold, the bear is in there eating, and you go tramping on in there and spook that bear, scare that bear out of there at noontime. You just done a really bad thing. That bear probably will disappear for a week or maybe a couple weeks. That bear might not come back for days and upwards of a week to the bait site. And when he does come back, he might not come back till after dark. You may have just turned that bear nocturnal, and you just ruined your chances at shooting that 250, 300, 400 pound boar that was probably in there eating at noontime that you've got pictures of. You just ruined your chances probably at that bait site at killing that big mature. You could still kill a bear at that bait site. It might be a new, younger, subordinate bear, a young yearling bear that comes in later in the season and stuff. The younger bear that are 2 and 3 years old, they're super wanderers and travelers, and as for good reason, they're trying to figure out where they fit in the mixture of the bear population, since like the boar's home ranges. The male bear home ranges are as much as 150 to 300 square miles, and your sow home ranges are anywhere from like 20 to 38 to 40 square miles, according to Sarah Lida, a bear biologist who's been studying black bear for 20 years, and other biologists. This is backed by research. That's about how big a sow's home range is, almost 38, 40 square miles, and as much as 150 to 300 square miles for a boar. And so you can imagine here, if you have a male yearling, a 2 or 3 year old male, that's finally left its mother, it's the sow, and it's able to disperse, go on to live its life and establish its own home range somewhere, figure out where it belongs. It's going to cross paths with sows, paths with other boars. The bear, their home ranges are going to overlap, and they're going to cross past one another, such. But you could very well, if you ruined your bait site, scared off that big trophy boar you've been baiting, it's been hanging around for a week, and opening day's near, and you were hoping to shoot that bear, but instead of sticking to your regiment, your baiting regiment, your baiting pattern, going in at 9 a.m. every morning, for some reason, if you cannot go at the same time every morning, you're better off skipping a morning if you can't go at 9 the next day, and so forth and so on. Wait till you can go in at 9 in the morning. You're better off doing that, just skipping a day. Don't go in at a totally different time. You're going to put that big mature older bear, on high alert, and most likely run them out of there, scare them, and they won't show back up. They could disappear for a long time, for a week or more, or for the rest of the season, and just become nocturnal. Okay, so I'm gonna pause here. See, gung gadung. What the hell, Hunter? Gun gadung. Hey guy, how you doing? IDK Jeff. What is your 89th favorite food? 89th favorite food. Wonder what do you mean by that, IDK Jeff? What is your 89th favorite food? Can you expound on that a little bit? Clarify that for me. Hunter Shaw says, why are cookies called cookies and bacon called bacon when you cook bacon and bake cookies? That's funny. Thanks for that, Hunter Shaw. So why are cookies called cookies and bacon called bacon when you cook bacon and bake cookies? Huh. What kind? I'm not sure. Hey, you'll have to answer that for me. I'm not sure about that. Anyways, see, Jason's not on here yet. I'm waiting to see if Jason chimes in. And this guy that was on last Monday. So I go live if you guys didn't know, I go live every Monday night, somewhere between 8 and 9 p.m. And right now, my current live streams are all about black bear, black bear current events, black bear research, black bear biology, black bear behavior, black bear hunting tactics, tricks, black bear baiting, and such and so on and so forth. But in this live stream, I was going to talk about how to find the perfect spot to set up your bait. Now, first off, the number one thing is go to an area where you can legally bait, and go to a state or a place in the nation, or in Canada, Alaska, or wherever in the world, anywhere in the world where you can hunt and bait black bears, wherever it is you're going, to go pick a spot. And you got to do here a lot of background research, make some calls, talk with some biologists, game wardens, talk with other hunters, go to tagging stations and such, see what the numbers are at the tag station. Go focus on areas where you know for certain there's a high bear density, high bear population, where there's plenty of bear. That's the number one thing. Obviously, go where there's bear before ever establishing a bait site. And then, so William, come on here. William, do you have baits out yet? Yes, I do, William. Oh yeah, William, if all of you are still like Easton, Jordan, and all the Hunter Shaw, if you guys are all still on here listening. William, I think he was on here with me last Monday or last couple Mondays. William's a bear hunter, I believe. Or, wait, are you a bear hunter, William? William asked me if I have bait sites out. Yes, I do. I've got 2 bait sites out, and I have one that's got a nice, decent sized, probably 200-pound live weight bear, probably at least a 3-year-old and up. It's stated, if you Google this, you'll learn. If you Google how old is a 200-pound black bear, and you do your research on this, then for the most part, a bear that reaches the weight of 200 pounds, they're at least 3. They're going to be at least 3 years old or older. So I have a good, decent, respectable, at least 3-year-old, 4 or 5-year-old, 200-pounder coming to one of my bait sites consistently. The other bait site I've got established doesn't have a bear coming yet, but that bait site that doesn't have bear at it yet is known to not get bear coming until like September, till closer to the first week of opening day of bear hunting. But so I don't give up hope on that one bait site. It doesn't have bear coming to it yet. It's one of those, it's a weird bait site. I'll bait every other day, all pre-baiting season, all month of August, and then all of a sudden, first week of hunting comes and a bear will finally find that bait site or start coming to that bait site. So I kind of like to have that as like a backup hunting site if I kind of screw it up royal completely at this really good, at my honey hole bait site that I got bear at consistently. So let's see, T-Mac says, you from Wisconsin or Michigan? No, I'm from Maine, T-Mac. I'm going live from the state of Maine. Thanks for coming on, T-Mac. I'm talking about how to go about finding good bait sites, where to go to establish a bait site for the first time. If you're new to bear baiting or you want to know how to find the perfect bait setup, the number one rule obviously is go to an area where you know for certain there are a lot of black bear, wherever it is you're going to hunt black bear, and where you can legally place bait, obviously. And so I listen to a lot of podcasts and things that I've learned. See, I was listening to one, the Clay Newcomb podcast. He had guests on that are really well-known bear hunters, and they're extremely successful at baiting black bear, and they actually shared something that I kind of already knew. One of my bait sites is actually set up just almost exactly to how these guys said to set a bait, and that is like a kind of a high elevation, high point. Like if you gotta think of like finger ridges coming off a main mountain, a main ridge of a main mountain peak. A lot of times you have little saddles or a bench. You might have a bench connecting 2 mountains, one big steep ridge on one mountain, and a bench or a saddle or such is connecting one main ridge to another. And sometimes you have finger points or ridges jetting off of those saddles or off of those main ridges of mountains. And at the points of those saddles or points of those like little finger ridges, if you will, so forth, or little like, yeah. But anyways, you gotta look at your geographical features of the area where you're hunting. Look, study your mountains, ridges. Look for those saddles and pinch points and bottlenecks and such, and look for those lowlands, those river bottoms, stream bottoms, those really cool, damp, wet lowlands nestled below the ridges and mountain peaks and in the valleys. Those are the areas where your bear are going to hole up in the heat of the day and the majority of the day, where they're going to bed up. They need lots and lots and lots of water. If they're consuming 20 pounds of food a day and they're eating like 25,000, 30,000 calories a day, or taking in that many calories a day, it's going to make them an extremely thirsty animal. They need a lot of water to help digest all this food, to help supply all their cells and stuff, and to help establish their fat reserves they need going into denning seasons and such. So they're going to bed up during the day and lay up and hang during the day in these lowlands and valleys and these stream bottoms, river bottom areas where they can be near water, so we have a lot of water. And they're going to, come evening, when the temperature drops and gets cooler, the cooler evening hours towards nightfall, obviously the bear will venture off up into these ridges and up into these saddles and benches and head for the mountain peaks and start feeding on acorns and beech nuts and other hard mass. And they'll start going for those berry patches and such, and those black cherry trees and skunk cabbage, and they'll start going for the areas in the forest where they might strip the bark to get to that sweet, sugary cambium layer, the growing layer behind the bark of the trees that bear will eat. Maybe they're thinking of a yellow jacket nest, a bee nest or yellow jacket nest that they learnt of on a certain part of the forest. And they love yellow jacket nests to eat their larvae and such and so forth. So a good place to establish your bait site, to set up a bait, would be where like a fingerling ridge comes off of a main ridge off a mountain. Set your bait at that point. And I have a bait site set up just like this, as such. And that point drops off to the right and left, and heading drops into a swamp, to a really wet, damp area where there's streams and springs and stuff keeping the water in this swampy wetland area. And there's all kinds of natural food and stuff for the bear down there, and it's damp and cool. It's an area where the bear could bed. So I could potentially have a bear bedding within 100 to 200 yards of this particular bait site of mine on this point, this ridge. And these guys in the Clay Newcomb podcast I listen to, these guests that are really successful bear baiters and really successful bear hunters, they were talking of this type of bait site. This is like one of the #1 bait sites for them that's always worked the best. It's like a really good setup. Let's see, I'm going to pause here for a second, because I've got Maniac Motors came over. Hello from fellow Mainer. Hey, Maniac Motors, do you bear hunt? Maniac Motors, T-Mac, William, IDK, Hunter Shaw, if you're all still here, we've got Maniac Motors just coming on. He says hello, he's a fellow Mainer. Hey, how you doing, buddy? Do you bear hunt? Maniac Motors. And if you do bear hunt, if you're baiting, are you running bait sites currently? Do you have baits out? And share some tips or tactics you've learned along the way, if you could, with all the other viewers here. I'll share those with everybody. We'll go over it, talk about it together. So let's see, that's one really good spot, good site. So this is an area, a mountainous area with river bottoms and stream bottoms, wetlands down below these ridges, and there's saddles and pinch necks and bottlenecks for just natural travel corridors for black bear, and obviously deer and other critters and moose and such. Your bear, your deer, your moose, your coyote, all your critters, all your other wild animals that live, they all cohabitate in the mountains and the forests of Maine and wherever you're bear hunting. There's all other knocks of life, other critters and animals. They're going to use these same types of geographical features to help to give them a path of least resistance to make it easier for them to go from point A to point B. So if you got, so a good bait site would be on a point of a fingerling ridge coming off the main ridge of a mountain. And then on the bear, and if you're baiting, you're keeping your baiting regimen. Like I mentioned earlier, number one rule to baiting is keep your baiting pattern the same. Where you park, where you walk, the types of foods you're using, the types of attractant site you're using, keep that the same. Your scent wick should be in the same spot. Walk to the barrel or bucket you're putting your bait in the same every time. Show up at the same time every morning to that bait site. And straighten up your barrel, pour your food, bang your bucket 3 times, the same every day. You're sounding that dinner bell to that bear. That bear's onto you. That bear's rationalizing here. As far as how he's getting that food, he's learning that he's getting it from a human. He knows humans are involved here. And that bear, they're so smart, so intelligent, they're learning everything. They're learning your scents, your sounds, they're learning everything. They're taking it all in, and you could blow it all completely if you change your patterns. Each and every day you do something different. You walk a different path, you park a little closer or further away, and maybe they didn't hear your truck where you parked further away, and so they think you're something different altogether. They don't think it's you that they saw from a distance, that they smelled or heard, and that you could blow it all. You could turn that bear nocturnal. You could make that bear disappear for a week or longer and blow your hunt altogether. You don't want to change things drastically and put them on high alert. So if you're baiting on that point, your baiting pattern is good, giving them plenty to eat. You want to give them like 20 pounds of food a day to eat, so they're filling their bellies and they're not going far to bed up. They're gonna, at that point on that ridge, it drops to a really nice mossy, cool wetland area with some trickling stream nearby and some springs or a river close by. They got water real close. They're gonna go bed really super close, and you can bet they're going to drink a lot, and they're going to defecate and stretch and mill around, do whatever they're doing wherever they are, and you can bet they're going to show up before dark and give you a shooting opportunity if you're baiting the way you should bait. So that's one particular site that's really good for a bait. Another really good bait site would be if this is like a non-mountainousy type area. Maybe this is maybe you're near the Blueberry Barrens in Maine and more flatter terrain where there's just rolling hills and a few little gullies and ravines and stuff, and maybe some river bottoms and stream bottoms, but mostly field. If you're in an area where it's laced with blueberry fields, like in the Blueberry Barrens of Maine and down East Maine, in the area like that, a good bait site would be really close by a river or stream. Like off of like a blueberry field, maybe 100 yards into the woods, and you'd want to have your stand site set closer to the field's edge, so that and when you're hunting, have the winds blowing your scent out into the wide open fields, the areas where bear aren't going to travel from or come from, where you're certain and confident bear aren't going to come from. Have your scent blowing there, and the bear obviously going to be bedded into the deep timber and the cool parts of the forest near water, near stream or river, that you've got your bait nearby. You want to look at your Onyx app and look at your aerial photos, your gazetteers, wherever your maps, wherever you're looking at, to learn the area, to find it. Look at your contour lines, look at research and study the geographical features of that area. Know where all the hills and mountains are, valleys and ravines. Know where the streams are, and all that. And put your bait site somewhere just off, maybe 50 yards off of the blueberry field, and fairly close, within 100 or 200 yards of a water source. And that would be a great spot for a bait site. And have your scent blowing into that wide open blueberry field, or somewhere, or a cotton, an old 2-3-year-old grown up clear cut. It's got raspberries and blueberry, natural wild blueberries growing, and blackberries and black cherry trees and such. And so you could have, so that's a third good bait site setup, not only off of a blueberry field, but also an old cut, a 2 or 3-year-old clear cut. Have your stand within the woods, 25, 50 yards off of that wide open cut over. Have your scent blowing there into an area where you're certain, confident that the bear probably won't come from to your bait, and then have your bait into the wood in the woods about 50 yards off of those edges, and obviously nearby water. They're a very thirsty animal. They're running thirsty, man. These animals, they're consuming so much food a day. At this time, see, we're in August, September, October, November, and even in some cases December. They're going to still eat a lot. They may be consuming a lot of acorns, nuts at that time, a lot of berries that are left over and such. And so they'll be, they could be stripping the bark for the cambium layer, the sweet sugary cambium layer, and behind the barks of the trees in those months, November and December, to pack on those calories and stuff and establish those fat reserves for the upcoming winter months. So yeah, those are a couple bait sites that could work to your advantage. That could be work perfectly. Another, let's see. Any of you have any ideas for bait sites? Maniac says, when I did bear baiting. Maniac Motor says, when I did bear baiting, I loved putting my baits in the wetlands of a cedar bog. There we go. Okay, so everyone, all of you, William, Hunter Shaw, Jordan, Easton, all of you guys, if you're still on here, Maniac Motor says he used to bait in the wetland near Cedar Bog. Yeah. So yes, having baits established right on the edges of swampland, wetland, cedar bogs, all great places. The bear could be holed up, bedding in the heat of the day, the hot parts of the day, and right within. They could be laying right in the water in a wet muddy water hole somewhere in the swamp wetland, drinking lots, and they could be eating skunk cabbage and eating wetland vegetation to help aid in their digestion and stuff. There's lots of food sources for the bear and around wetlands, cedar bogs and such. And obviously if you got a bait nearby one of them. I see when I was on my when I went on my Canada bear hunt, my New Brunswick, Canada bear hunt, I sat in a bait site that was set in a place just as Maniac Motors mentioned, the wetland. I was right on the back. Behind me was the wetland swamp with a river or something back there or such. And it was a wide open area. My scent was blowing that way. I heard the bear coming in the evening right from out of the wetland. I could hear splashing in the water and hear them walking, coming in from my right. And the bear came in, and I got video footage. So I think I've used this hunt in one of my YouTube videos. So I don't only go live, everybody, but I do upload mainstream episodes on my YouTube channel, Spikes and Gills. So you'll definitely want to subscribe, click the notification bell so you'll be notified of all future uploads. Because I do upload every Thursday night, and in some cases Sundays, regular mainstream 15-20 minute episodes on my channel. And I also upload shorts videos. So I go live, I upload shorts, and I upload regular episodes. So definitely subscribe to Spikes and Gills so you'll be able to watch those videos. But this bait site that I was sitting in on the New Brunswick, Canada hunt, and this bear behind me is the bear I ended up shooting on that particular hunt with my bow. This one right here, this is a New Brunswick, Canada bear. And I was, as Maniac Motors said, he used to baiting right in wetland. Those are great places. You're definitely going to be nearby bear if you're setting your baits right by wetlands and cedar bogs and such like that. There's going to be bear close by places like that for sure. So Leslie, everybody, Maniac Motors, T-Mac, William, Jordan, Easton. I see Leslie Neivard came back on. Hey Leslie, how you doing, buddy? How's it going today, bud? I'm doing great, Leslie. I think Leslie Neivard is a guide out of Saskatchewan. Correct me if I'm wrong, Leslie, but I think you are a guide from the Saskatchewan area or somewhere in Canada. So Maniac Motor says, did you get a moose permit this year? No, I didn't get a moose permit. Did you? But I'm going on a moose, well, wife permitting, if I can make it good with the wife. If I can do the honey-do list, I can go on a bait site. I've got a friend whose family, him and his daughter both got moose permits. And I'm going on one moose hunt for sure to be the cameraman, to help field dress it, cape it if they want to mount it. I do taxidermy, so they like to have me come along do the dirty work to cape the animal and field dress them and such. Since I mounted the big trophy bull moose that we shot, me and my buddy shot last year. And that hunt, maybe you guys have already watched this hunt. It's a very popular hunt. It's got like 60 some odd thousand views on my YouTube channel. This last year's trophy bull moose hunt. You guys will have to, after you leave this live stream, you'll have to go watch that. Yeah, so I recommend that video, Maniac Motors, that moose, last year's trophy bull moose hunt. It's on the YouTube channel, Spikes and Gills. You'll have to check that out. But so I am going on a moose hunt this year to film, to get that content and put that hunt obviously in several, and I can put together several videos from a moose hunt, like how-tos and such, and tactics, tricks, and how to go about finding moose, hunting moose, all that such and so forth. And obviously the hunt will be uploaded on the channel too. But see, he might have answered my question. He asked if I'd... Oh, right, yeah, Leslie said yes, I was right. Leslie is a guide out of the Saskatchewan area. Steve Sextor says, how's bear meat? Yeah, I'll answer. So Maniac Motors says, yes, I got mine for last week of October. Nice. So Maniac Motors, everyone, got a moose permit for the last week in October. That's actually the week I'm going on a moose hunt the 13th through the 18th, the beginning of October, because that last week of October I reserved for my trophy deer hunting. I take that week off last week of October and into beginning of November to do my trophy deer hunt, bow hunting and stuff, to go after my target bucks. But that's great. Congratulations, Maniac Motors, on your moose permit. As you said, Steve, I love bear meat. It's such a deep flavor. Oh yeah, so Leslie chimed in here to help me. So he's answering Steve's question about bear meat. So I've been cooking bear meat at work for the guys. I'm a blueberry farmer. I just was talking about establishing a bait site off of blueberry fields, a blueberry ground, and the blueberry barrens of Maine. I'm a blueberry farmer, and I've been, the bear I shot last year, I've been feeding a lot of the guys at work the steak, the bear steak. I've been doing stews. I've been cooking a lot in the crock pot. The steak I've been cooking right in the crock pot. I've just been seasoning I've been dry rubbing every piece of steak by hand with Deano's original seasoning, because I found that Deano's original seasoning does wonders on bear steak meat. It's great with bear meat. I've been doing that, throwing that in the crock pot with like just a barbecue sauce, putting the whole thing of barbecue sauce in the crock pot, and then filling that barbecue sauce bottle about halfway with water, and shaking it up and get the rest of the barbecue sauce in that, about half a bottle of water in the crock pot for moisture so it didn't dry out too bad. And I've been cooking it on low for 6 hours, and the guys have loved it. Oh, it could peel it, just it pulled apart. So that's one thing I've done at work. I've also cooked just the stew meat that way. But I've used the McCormick's seasoning packets for stew, and doing the McCormick seasoning packet recipe on the back of the McCormick packages. I've been following that stew recipe for bear stew. That's been come out great, and putting in the carrots and onions and such in the crock pot for the stew. But what I'll do is take the bear stew pieces, the bear meat stew, if you sear them in a pan, I'll flour them and put a little butter in a saucepan, and I'll sear and put it on high heat and just sear each piece of stew meat, and then throw them in the crock pot with the carrots and onions and such, and potatoes and the seasoning mix and everything else. And now bear steak, I'll just cook. My 12-year-old says he likes bear steak better than deer steak. The bear steak is so much tenderer and juicier. You've got to cook bear meat thoroughly, though, because of possible trichinosis. But the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, says that as long as all your meat, the temperature, the internal temperature, and all parts of the meat is 162 or 165 degrees or higher, then you've killed all chances of getting sick from that meat, and you don't have to worry about trichinosis and such. The general rule of thumb with bear meat is cook it thoroughly all the way through, and get it nice and super, super hot. Obviously, deer meat, moose meat, you can cook medium rare, medium well. You can have a little pink in and deer meat and stuff and be fine. But with bear meat, cook it thoroughly and you'll be fine. But the bear meat, bear meat's great. Leslie's saying he loves bear meat too. So Leslie says, my favorite way is just like a pot roast with veggies and garlic, French onions. Oh, nice. I haven't tried that recipe yet, Leslie. But I might do that this week for the guys at work. Because I'm a wastewater operator for the Maine Wild Blueberry Company, and I'm a blueberry farmer. I spray blueberry fields in big John Deere 100-foot boom sprayers, so I get to see bear out and about crossing fields in front of me. And I'm pretty much scouting and working at the same time when I work. I get to scout from a deer hunt spot to bear hunt spot. So I have a cool job, but I also get to cook wild game meat for the guys at work, and they love it. And I want to try this recipe that Leslie just shared. He says, my way is just like a pot roast, veggies and garlic, and French onion soup mix. So I say, okay, I'm going to write all that down right now. Hey, what do you guys think of the bear skull? Oh, something fell off of it. Wasn't a tooth, was it? Might have been a tooth. Maybe it was a tooth. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I do my own taxidermy and stuff. I did this. Look how nice, clean, and white. Okay, this is a bear skull. I've got this bear skull. I think it was to this one. This New Brunswick bear back here. This was I think a younger boar. It was definitely over 3 years old. Because I think it field dressed 180s. It was almost 200 something pounds live weight, I believe. So it was between the 3 to 5 year old range of this bear. This bear back here was actually a dry sow without cubs. This was a nuisance bear I shot right over my head. So yeah, so this bear skull I'm holding right here went to this New Brunswick bear right here. And that bear skull back here over my left shoulder on the wall, that's to last year's bear, that 240-pound dressed bear I shot last year. That was to a big bear that I got last year. But this bear over my head, this was a nuisance bear that was in people's dumpsters, taking down people's bird feeders, and people were sighting in their yards. And I did a solid by baiting nearby. It was actually an ex-girlfriend's. Well, at the time, I think I was still dating the girl. This girl I was dating in the area where this bear was being a nuisance, he let me bait in a bog area and like a wetland area behind his house. I could access an old logging road and park in the same spot every day, walk the same baiting path every day. Remember, you've got to, when baiting blackberry, you've got to keep your pattern the same. Don't alter your patterns in any way, shape, or form. Don't give that bear any reason to be on high alert, to put a red flag up and to go nocturnal and to disappear for weeks on end. And so I baited this bear at a girl behind my girlfriend's, at the time, my girlfriend's father's house, and I was able to be successful and kill it. And all the locals thanked me. There were some grateful I took care of that bear. And it sure was the bear, because once I killed that bear, all nuisance activity stopped. People didn't have to pick up trash and litter that from their dumpsters and trash cans being tipped over, and people didn't have to replace their bird feeders that the bear was breaking and taking down, and people didn't have to worry about their pets or children playing out in their yards and such. So the bear was sighted in the daylight hours and stuff in the evenings in people's backyards and such. So anyways, let's see what Leslie Newer said. Jason Gibson, I rendered down a bit of fat, and then the wife likes using it for Christmas bake. Oh yes, yeah. Jason Gibson said, "Have you tried bear bacon? And have you rendered bear fat to make bear grease for cooking yet?" No, I haven't yet, Jason. I haven't rendered, but I know all about it, and I'm going to do it this year. I'm going to try to shoot this year's bear with my bow, and this bear that's been pretty consistent at one of my 2 bait sites. It's a respectable, average size Maine black bear. I believe to be 200 plus pounds, and I think it would be a good bear to take with a bow. And I do plan on rendering some grease, bear grease from this bear. But Clay Newcomb, Leslie and Jason and Ken say hi, honey. My wife's going to bed. She just walked by. She says hi, everybody. I got all kinds of, that guy from Saskatchewan, Canada, come back on. Jason Gibson, he's a guy. I've got Tixie. Oh, who's this? This is someone. Oh, Trixie says, whoa, how much did they cost to be? I went to Animal Museum and it was awesome. I saw bears like that. So many facts about these beasts. Okay, so everybody that Jason and Leslie, I'm going to pause here to answer Trixie's question. I don't know if Trixie asked a question, but Trixie says that they went to a museum and learned about bears. And yes, you come to the right place if you want to learn about bear for sure. See, Leslie, he's a guide. Jason, he's a avid bear hunter. He knows a lot about bears. But Jason Gibson, he's a great follower of the channel, Spikes and Gills, and me and him, we converse back and forth all the time. So, oh yeah. Oh, so Leslie and Jason say hi to you, Trixie. So Trixie, have you ever seen a bear skull? Maybe in that museum you did. You may have seen bear skulls. See, I want to share with you a few bear facts, Trixie, if you're still listening. Did you know, Trixie, that sows... Well, this one here was actually a dry sow. It didn't have cubs, though. This bear come in with no cubs. It was what they call a barren sow or sow, dry sow. People give the phrase. But this was a nuisance bear. A bear that was causing a lot of problems and stuff. And the locals were very grateful that I shot this bear behind me. But did you know, Trixie, that sows' home ranges, if you're in bear country, a sow, their home ranges, this is backed by Sarah Lida and other biologists like Randy Cross and stuff. Home range could be anywhere from 20 to 38 or 40 square miles for a sow, for a female bear. But your males, Trixie, your male bears, they're wanderers. And for good reason. Your male home ranges, your black bear boar home ranges could be as little as 100, 150 square miles or as large as 300 square miles. And their mating seasons, the time of year that the bear mate, is in the spring, late spring, like sometime in May, around Mayish. If it's a warm spring, snow is all melted, and the weather's warm, flowers are starting to spring up, grass, all the greenery starting to come up. Your boars and your sows could start becoming in heat, start getting ready for the mating, and your boars will start wandering and search for available sows to copulate with, and find those sows in heat. And all of May, April, May, June, July, August, there's like a 3.5, 4-month window of opportunity for these bear to copulate, to mate. And the boars, they're wandering wildly. Their home ranges are so large because you got to use certain parts of their home ranges for different reasons throughout the year. For one of them being mating, they're going to wander this extensive area of their home range to look for available sows to mate with. And the other reasons why bears will be where they are in certain parts of their home range for various times of the year is because of available food. They're going to hone in on certain food sources that are super nutritious and valuable to them for packing on fat and fat reserves for the upcoming cold winter months for denning season and such. And they'll exhaust that food source. They'll stay in that area of the home range till all that food's used up. And then they're going to shift. They're going to move on and shift to another part of the home range to where their food is hot at that time. And they're going to continue doing that throughout the year. And see some other facts about bear. So Trixie, if you're still listening, I mentioned earlier in this live stream, I'm always talking about this when I'm live or in my videos about black bear. So if you're still on here, Trixie, an adult male and adult female black bear, they're old and mature, and they're upwards of 200 pounds live weight or more. They can eat as much as 20 pounds a day of food. And that translates to anywhere from like 25,000 to 30,000 calories that they're intaking a day. And it's making them extremely thirsty animals. They're always going to be traveling nearby and eating nearby an available water source, water hole. This is a good hunting tip for anyone that doesn't want to bother baiting black bear or hunting bear with hounds or trapping or snaring black bear. If you want to just use conventional hunting methods, a really good hunting tactic for all of you that I want you to hear me out here, is find those random like high elevation spring holes. These happen. These are available. You got to figure, if you have a mile high mountain, snow-capped mountains, and you've got snow melt, and you've got rains and periodic rains coming through, and obviously you're going to have bubbling springs. You could find water holes, wet holes, vernal pools, areas where there's water and bubbling springs in higher elevations and high up, like halfway up the mountains and such. These could be dynamite hunting spots for bear. And if you find a spot like this, you want to look for the still steaming bear scat that is so fresh that's barely a couple hours old. And you want to find those acorns, those feed trees, those acorn trees that are dropping sweet, tender acorns that the bear are favoring at that point in time. Or beech nuts that are sweet and tender and that the bear favor at that time. That feed tree, you need to hunt right then and there. That scat is so fresh, and you've got that nice spring hole, that watering hole nearby. All the ingredients that just screams bear. Bear are here, and the sign is pointing to bear. You could do well using conventional hunting methods and ambush the spot, set up on a high elevation. If you're rifle hunting, you could set up 100 yards away from a site like this with the wind in your favor. Obviously play the wind, make sure your scent is blowing away from this area where the bears was feeding, and you could ambush in a high elevation, high vantage point, and wait for that bear to come in the evening to eat. And you could get a bear that way without using bait or hounds or trapping bear stuff. So that's one bear hunting tactic that a person could use in bear country. See, Jason Gibson just says, Leslie Neivard, nice. I hear it is great for bake. Yes. And did you know, everybody, that bear grease is great for waterproofing leather boots? And I've heard and read in my research that bear grease is better to cook with than butter. You can cook with bear grease as you would with all your conventional oils, like your olive oils and such, and butter. But you could cook your steak and burgers with bear grease, and you're going to have one mean steak and one mean burger. And bear grease is great for a lot of things. But I do plan on this year, Jason and Leslie, rendering some bear fat. I'm going to tell my butcher to not only trim all my steaks up, because the bear fat, but left on steak, left on meat pieces, can taint the meat. Bear fat isn't a good tasting fat, but bear fat is great for rendering down, to bring it to a high boiling point, cooking and rendering to get the grease, to get all the bear grease out of that fat, and then jar that bear grease and save that for cooking and for other uses and stuff, or burning in oil lamps, wherever, waterproofing things and stuff. But the white gristly bear fat left on a steak can make it taste kind of. Obviously beef fat everyone loves. Pork fat is great. Everybody loves pork fat, beef fat. But bear fat isn't good tasting. But you don't want to be wasteful. You want to use all the parts of the bear that you possibly can. If you're hunting bear, you want to mount them. You want to tan their hides. Like here's a extra deer cape that when I tan, I do my own taxidermy stuff. I tan deer hides, I tan bear hides, I tan moose and bobcat. I'm going to turn the camera around. Look at that bobcat back there, everybody. That's a 30-pound male tom bobcat that I shot. So I do my own tanning and taxidermy. I tan all these things. And I like to utilize all parts of the animal I possibly can. And I'm learning, every year I'm learning new ways that I can utilize all the different parts of the animals that I take. And it's very important that we educate the general public that we're not just killers. We're not going out there and shooting these animals just for the fun of it and just to leave, to rot, and to waste. There's a lot of general public out there, a lot of folks that aren't just educated to the importance of hunting, how hunting really is a very, very important tool of the wildlife management, wildlife conservation model as a whole, and us hunters that are ethical hunters that are always learning and researching everything about the animals. We're learning new things yearly on how to be better hunters, how to better ourselves, and how to utilize all the different parts of the animals for different things, different reasons. So it's important for us hunters to share all this with the general public. Just assure them that we are not wasteful, that we are ethical. When we hunt, we're selective. Like with bear baiting. Bear baiting is a wonderful way to be very, very selective. It's a good way for a bear hunter to know what's out there for bear. What's coming? If there's a sow with cubs, and the hunter knows to leave them alone. And we bait in hopes to attract a male, a male bear, a bear without cubs, to come and to be a regular visitor at our bait site, so we can harvest that and kill that mature male bear, so baiting is great for that. But for the most part, the majority of hunters out there, 99% of hunters, I want to have faith in and believe are ethical hunters, and that they're selective, and that they're going about it in the right way, and that they're taking out a respectable animal out of the herd. Like leave a doe with fawns alone. A doe that may still have fawns that are relying on that doe for education to learn how to be deer, so that those fawns can survive as deer, to grow into maturity, to go on and do deer things. It's very common that deer and bear and moose and other animals are imprinted upon humans, and then that sometimes that can pose a lot of problems, where like the deer become too comfortable around humans, and then they're always close to roadways, and they could pose a threat to where there could be a car collision with a deer. A bear could do the same. A moose could be the same thing with a moose. And there's many stories and instances where a lot of folks have learned where these wild critters have imprinted themselves upon humans, have become trusting of humans, and they hang around humans too much, and that's not really a real, for all intents and purposes, not really a good thing to be happening. A lot of problems could arise from such thing. So it's important as us hunters to leave the sows with cubs alone. Don't shoot a cub. Don't shoot the sow. Don't shoot a doe with, if you're deer hunting, you have a doe tag. Maybe leave the doe alone that's got the couple fawns with her. And leave a sow alone that's got cubs with her. Those cubs, they stay with mama bear for a sow for like upwards of almost 3 years, definitely 2. But sows also, they don't normally mate until they're at least 2 years old and older. But there's instances where Sarah Lyda, the biologist that I mention a lot, in her 20 years of studying black bears, there's certain study areas where they've live trapped bear, and they've studied bear in her neck of the woods, where the bear population was very low. And then in those areas where the bear population is very low, there aren't many bear, obviously they'll pull the plug on hunting in areas like that. There might not be no bear hunting in a place where the bear population is dwindling. The Inland Fish and Wildlife, or the Department of Conservation and stuff, whatever, and the wardens, they can say no hunting in a situation like that where the population is nil. But Sarah Lyda said that a younger sow can mate if really necessary, and for the most part, it only happens in situations like this where the population is very low, where there aren't that many bear. Then you might have a 1-year-old or 1.5-year-old sow mate and give birth to cubs and stuff. She's witnessed this herself, but it was in a study area of hers where there weren't many bear. But for the most part, for all intents and purposes, sows don't become mature enough to mate, and this is nature's way to allow the bear to become experienced. An older sow giving birth is good for the cubs. That sow's experienced. She's been around for a few years. She knows how to be bear, how to do bear things, how to be a bear. She's going to teach her cubs, imprint very important things on those cubs, and teach them valuable life lessons, so those cubs can grow into maturity, grow into adulthood, and grow on to be bear and do bear things and survive as bear. And it's likewise with a fawn or a cow moose with calves, or a doe deer with fawns. These females, these mamas, mama deer, mama moose, mama bear, they're teaching their young how to be deer, how to be bear, how to be moose. They're teaching them valuable things. So ethical hunter. So let's see, what's her name? If you're still on here, Trixie. I think Trixie might not be a hunter, but Trixie was saying they went to a museum to learn about bear and stuff. So there could be people on here that aren't hunters, or just starting out as hunters, learning about hunting. So I'm here to educate you and tell you that ethics are what you do when no one is watching. Ethical. Being an ethical hunter is very important. It's what you do as a hunter, that you do what you feel to be right. You know, when you do, it's you doing things that in your heart and your mind you feel are right, that are not wrong, and you're not breaking laws anyway. So if you're being ethical, that's ethics. It's the definition of ethics. And just we all have the code of ethics is important. All of us hunters, we need to have the code of ethics that within us. We need to be ethical and be just doing what we feel to be right out there in the woods when no one's watching, and be following all the rules and laws and following the code of ethics. So, see, Leslie says they did that this year with OEC Moose. There. So Leslie and Jason, I think, have been conversing back and forth about. So Leslie says, I wish I could post a video on here. I had 2 juveniles trying to crawl into the quad trailer for feed as I was trying to load the berries. Oh, that's awesome, Leslie. Yeah, see, so I think Leslie's talking about cubs, perhaps. The cubs were trying to get right into the quad trailer after the food, because they're getting used to you being around. That's the thing. These bear, as we follow our baiting patterns, these bear, they're so smart, so intelligent, they have the ability to rationalize that. Hey, this strange 2-legged critters bring me food. And in some cases, the bear will start heading right for the barrel. They get so used to us, the ones that are doing the baiting, they become non-afraid. They're used to our scent, our sight, the sounds of our vehicle, whatever we're using, side-by-side, four-wheeler, truck. They're used to everything that we do. And I've had this happen. I've had an experience where the bear just paced back and forth, or I saw the bear, the bear was there. When I went in, the bear was just so used to me coming every morning at the same time. The bear just hung around, just let me do my thing. And it wouldn't be but minutes later after I left, got in my truck, that bear would be right in there, because trail cameras would verify that. The bear would be right there. So, I mean, yeah, so the bear, and another thing too, let's see, Joe, hey Joe, how's it going? Still not getting hit. The food is so much this year. Oh yeah, so Joe, I think, is saying, Leslie, that their bait sites haven't been hit yet. There is a lot of natural food. Joe and Leslie and Jason and Shooter and everyone else on here that are baiting black bear, hunting bear. Hit the ground running, scouting. I've noticed that the black cherry trees are loaded. In my area, one of the areas that I hunt, the cherries and the black cherry trees are full. The cherry trees are loaded. There are I think a fair amount of acorns and beech nuts. And I've noticed the raspberry and blackberry bushes are loaded. Blueberries everywhere, blackberries everywhere, black cherries everywhere. There's a lot of, obviously, just your regular natural herbaceous, broadleaf herbaceous browse stuff. Your flower that normally flowers. So I think your goldenrod, your cow vetch, your plantain. Let's see, your there's all kinds of there is a lot of natural feed. What's funny, the podcast I listen to all the time, the guy, there was a couple guests on this podcast that are well known. They're just well known bear hunters. They're really successful at baiting black bear, but they've said this statement stuck with me. I find it funny. They said that a mature, older, wise black bear won't leave an acorn for a bait site. If they're on some good acorns, on a good feed tree, where the acorns are, wherever they're eating those acorns, they're sweet, luscious, they're loving those acorns. They know better than putting themselves in danger and harm, and potential harm, or whatever, and not increase their anxiety. Like every time a bear comes to a human disturbed area, a bait site, you can bet that their anxiety, their heart rate's up, they're on high alert, they're licking their lips constantly, they're yawning. Bear, I learned this from the Randy Cross, the Maine bear biologist who was studying bear for over 30 years. I learned this from him, that a yawning black bear, if a bear sits and yawns, stretches their long tongue, they're doing that because their anxiety is high. If you're seeing this, you see a bear yawn, clearly they're near human. You're human. They're near human disturbance, and it's putting them on high alert. It's making them nervous. their anxiety is up high. So you got to stop think here. A bear isn't going to leave a tender, sweet acorn for a bait site, and that's true. So there's a ton of it, ton of natural feed. Why? And they're near a good water source, good cover. They're living it up. They got everything they need. Why put themselves in harm's way? Why put themselves through all that stress and all that extra anxiety over going to a bait site? So yeah, so what's his name? He said it was Shooter Grizzly Joe. No, it was Joe saying that his baits aren't getting hit yet because of so much natural feed. Yeah, that just stick with it. One may show up. I've got 2 bait sites, Joe. And I've got one there's one bear that's coming consistently at one. It's a good shooter bear, respectable bear. It's a bear I'd be willing to shoot with my bow. So I'm grateful to at least have one decent bear coming. But I'm hopeful that as the weather gets cooler, we get closer to the first week of hunting, that some new bear will start showing up eventually at any one of my 2 bait sites. And it is possible. You just got to stick with it. Don't give up. Recreational. Let's see. Joe says, I have cherry spray out, and when do you think the food will die down? That's a good question, Joe. Joe Dutail. Shooter says, high level Alberta if you want really, really big bears. Yes. Oh yeah, Alberta's a great place for bear hunt. So Leslie says, Joe Detail, I swear by anything coconut. If I'm setting a new site, I'll cover the area in it. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Leslie, I still have yet to get any coconut scent. I wondered that about coconut. See, I use the anise oil. So yeah, did you see? Are you reading that, Joe? Leslie says try some coconut scented sprays and oils and such. But I do use, Joe. I use a cherry what is it called? A cherry scented called Bear Crack or something, or Bear, or no. But obviously love cherry Kool-Aid powders, or anything cherry. You can sprinkle that on the food. This cherry stuff that I use, I sprinkle on the food that I put in the barrel. It's sweeter. It's like 100 times sweeter than sugar, this stuff that I use. So it's gonna do it like it hopes to keep the bear coming back for more. And I use it sparingly. I use it when I open up bait site. And I use it until bear are coming, so they get used to that scent, used to that flavor. When I open up a bait site with certain scents, certain things, I always stick to those scents and those foods until bears start coming and they start tracking. They'll obviously stick to their pad, their fur, all these scents, the grease, and this stuff I sprinkle, spray all over the site will stick to the fur, the pads of their feet, and they're going to spread this scent through the woods, attracting new bear, another bear to the site. And all those other bear, they'll get familiar with those scents and taste flavors and sights and such. And until I get bear coming out, I don't usually change up too much. I don't try a different scent. I might, but a couple things I keep in my back pocket to fire up bait site if the site goes cold or the bear get burnt out. A bear could be feeding at your bait site for a couple weeks, and then opening days another week away or something. The bear could get burnt out from eating what you're giving them, eating the same thing. And it's a lot of times it's when that happens when I'll put out the peanut butter, or I'll put out Dunkin' donut filling, jelly donut fillings, and I'll put out the strawberry syrup. Or I'll go to Hannaford and buy a bunch of sardine cans, and I'll dump the sardines and sardine juice all over the place, and I'll use that to fire up a bait site that's gone cold. There's all sorts of things like that. I might try coconut. Leslie says, Joe, try coconut. I have yet to try that, but he swears by it. He's got success with the coconut flavors and scents, lures in Saskatchewan area for his bear sites. And I think, Leslie, how many bait sites do you run again? See, maybe you said down here. See, Leslie says, Shooter, do you do them? And I've tried here in Saskatchewan. Joe, I used apple butterscotch last year. It worked well. Oh yeah, Jason, Joe, Leslie, I love the butterscotch. I got the Gold Rush. I buy that really expensive bottle. It's like $35, $40 for a little bottle of Gold Rush. It's a butterscotch kind of caramel type flavor and smell. And you only need a cap full of this in a bunch of old fire later grease. Now I add that for extra flavor and scent. to the grease that I splash all the tree trunks and all over the ground. And that gets on the bear's paws and on the fur, and that they track that scent all through the forest in hopes to draw a new bear. So I use butterscotch is great stuff, Jason. I use that too. I'm currently using that this year at the site that I got a bear coming in consistently to, and he loves. And I do put up a couple scent wicks in the trees, and I dip the scent wicks in an anise extract, a bottle of anise oil. It's a licoricey, black licoricey smelling scent stuff. I'll put that up in a couple scent wicks. So the bear are used to that. That's a great nose jammer. So a lot of times I'll put some more of that out, some more anise extract out, like right before opening day, before the week I hunt. I'll douse the wicks. I'll put a little bit on the leaves and ground around underneath the wicks, because that anise extract, I didn't know if any of you knew this, but I learned this many years ago, that you can use the anise extract as long as you've already been putting it out there as an attractant right from day one, and it's not a new scent to put them on high alert and cause a mature, old, wise bear to not come in. As long as you've been using it since day one, you can use the anise as a nose jammer. They've already come in the bait. They're used to that scent being there. It's attracted to them. That anise licoricey smell is kind of naturally found among certain plants. There's some plants that emit a similar smell out in the wild that the bear used to. It's a great attractant for bear, this anise extract. So I recommend using that as a nose jammer right before going to hunt. Freshen that anise extract up at your site, so when the bear comes in there, they can get a nose full of that and not a nose full of you. And there's less chance of them smelling your human odor. So that's a trick I use, a little baiting tactic trick I use to be successful at bait sites. Jeff Kidd, where do you hunt bear at? I'm going to Logan, West Virginia for first time. Oh yeah, no, there's bear there. It's a great place to try to get a bear. I'm hunting bear in Maine, Jeff. This Leslie Neovard, Jeff, he's like out of Saskatchewan area. This Jason Gibson, he hunts in Maine. So everyone still listens on here. This Jeff Kidd just come on, and he's asking where I hunt bear. And he's going to Logan, West Virginia. I've never hunted bear there. Don't know how. I know there's bear there. So he says, right on. My cousin hunts Saskatchewan. Oh, yeah. Cool. Yeah, Jeff, this Leslie guy, he's awesome. He's been on here. He was on here last Monday. And he's back again this Monday. I go live every Monday night. It's all about bear now. So, well, it's bear season. Why not, right? So it's Talking Bear with Justin and Jason and Leslie and Jeff and everyone else that wants to talk bear. So, Jeff, you just come on here. I showed the guys this. Let me turn the camera. See that guy there? See, I used to write for the Northwood Sporting Journal. I made the covers. I frame all the covers that my name and article title was promoted on. So I used to write for the Northwood Sporting Journal. I wrote for them for like 10 years about bear hunting and coyote hunting and bobcat hunting and such. That's a 30-pound male bobcat up there, Tom Bobcat. And I've got coyote there, some bear, some deer, turkey, bunch of euros. Over here are some mounts. Oh, look, there's a coyote mount, another bobcat, fox, porcupine mount over there, porcupine, deer, squirrel mount. I got a lot of stuff mounted. I do my own taxidermy, so I can mount. I've got my first buck mount I ever did for myself over here. This Saskatchewan, this New Brunswick Canada bear right here is the very first mount I ever did, this shoulder mount. It's the very, very first mount I ever did right here. And I do a bunch of European style type skull mounts, obviously. But I finished my last year's buck. Can't wait to get him on the wall. Nice trophy 9-pointer, over 200 pounds of shot with a bow last year. I just got that buck mount finished downstairs and I got a full life-size mount of a bobcat I got to do. And then I could put in for my test in Augusta and go and try to get my taxidermy license. So I've got to bring with me a small mammal and an antlered mammal to me when I go test for my taxidermy license, because the tester, the person submitting the test, will look over my mounts. There's a verbal part of the test and a written part of the taxidermy test to get your license. So I'm hoping to get that taxidermy license this winter. But anyways, so Jeff says right on. Jeff Kidd, who's he hunt with? Oh yeah, who's he hunt? So Leslie asked you, Jeff, who does your, oh yeah, who does your cousin hunt with in Saskatchewan? Joe Duty says, I'm next to 3 swamps this year. Is this a good spot with Logan Road and ATV trail behind me? So Joe, Joe asked me, so Leslie, so hold on, Jeff Kidd, you can converse with Leslie. Leslie's helping me out. Thank you, Leslie, for answering Jeff's questions. But I'm going to answer Joe's question here real quick. So Joe asked if he's got his bait sites near 3 swamps, and there's a login road nearby. Yeah, so if the login operation has stopped, Joe, then it's good. 2 to 3 year old cuts, login areas, are phenomenal bear spots. If you haven't noticed, they go in succession. So obviously you got the first year they're pretty barren. There's not much in the way of food for bear, but the first 1 year old cut over, it's great. Still, you'll get your grasses coming in, really young shoots of herbaceous vegetation starting to grow. So you'll see your deer will use those cutovers really well the first year, first 2 years. 3 to 3 year old cuts and older, they start growing heavily. Black cherry trees, and obviously all your berries, your raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, and all your herbaceous vegetation. There's lots of food available for bear and old cutovers, so you can bet there are bear nearby. And Jeff, I wanted to mention, no, not Jeff. This is Joe. Oh yeah, Joe Dutil. So Joe, if you're still listening and watching, this Sarah Lida, a biologist that has been studying black bear for like 20 years. Her and all of her other biology colleagues and everyone she's worked with studying live trapping and studying black bear, radio collar and tattooing, putting ear tags in and such and so on. They've learned through all the years of studying black bear that sows, your female black bear, do not tolerate human disturbance no way, shape, or form. They found that the female sow bears rather establish their home ranges the furthest from roadways, the furthest from any human disturbance whatsoever. But your boars, on the other hand, and then your sow's home ranges are smaller, only 20 to 38 square miles, but your boars, your male, so Joe, what this means to me as a hunter, and what this would mean to you as a bear hunter. If the boar's home ranges are larger, 150 to 300 square miles, and they're wanderers and roamers, they're going to cross old log roads. They're going to cross four-wheeler paths, roadways. They're going to come in contact with humans in some way, shape, or form. But that's beneficial to us bear hunters. We're mainly targeting the boars, a mature trophy male bear. So that's beneficial to us. This is good knowledge that I learned from Sarah Lyde, a biologist, and other biologists. So don't worry about sow. But clearly, obviously many bear hunters have sows and cubs come to their bait sites. But you got to think, where is that bait site? You could be baiting pretty far from roadways. Your baits might be far away from logging roads and four-wheeler trails and tar roads and pretty far away from any human disturbance. So that sow's going to be fine coming to that bait site with her cubs if there isn't very much. If it's just you, she's obviously, that sow's learnt about you. You've been going every day at the same time, taking the same path, using the same foods and scents. Your baiting patterns the same. You've educated that sow that everything's okay, that when you've come and gone, there's food there for her and her cubs. So Jeff, Jeff Dutil, don't worry about those areas. I think that the sound, if you're near swamps and there's been logging going on, and if that logging area is at least 3 years old, there's plenty of natural feed for bear. It's an attractant to bear that live nearby, the local bear. They're going to go into that cut to eat for all that natural feed. So you should be fine, Jeff. I'm basically just going there to try and bag my first bear with a Marine buddy that lives there. Spend time together in the mountains and hopefully succeed. Then I want to get a bobcat. Oh, sweet. Yeah, I have no idea. In the 70s, my cousin held a record bear killed. Oh, that's sweet. A record bear killed in the 70s. That's cool, Jeff. Yeah, so I don't know if you saw this, Jeff, already, but I shot this 30-pound male bobcat right there. That's a big old kitty. And then those are covers to the Northwood Sporting Journal. I wrote for them for like 10 years. Wrote articles about predator hunting and bear hunting and deer hunting and such. And I've written for the Outdoor magazine. Yeah, so I have some books too. Anyway, well, speaking of books, so I've been live for a long time here. So I'll save that for a later time, but I've got the Wild Man Outdoors Hunting Tactics Secrets book in the sit spot. I've got a couple books that I'll share probably next Monday. I gotta get my links. I'll have to put my links in the descriptions down below of all my videos, my YouTube videos and such, so that people can order my books and such stuff. So I do have merch that if you look below the video, all my YouTube videos, there's the shopping icon. If you click on that, then you can browse my hoodies and t-shirts and such and order some Spikes and Gills merch. But I'll next Monday on the next live stream, I'll take out my books. I'll talk about the couple books I have and such. So anyways, I've been live long. I haven't even eaten dinner, and I'm past my bedtime. I've got to get up early. I'm a blueberry farmer. I've got to get out, get the wastewater pump going, clean the filters. And it's blueberry harvest for us here where I am in Maine. And I'm doing like 14-hour days, working 7 days a week, 14-hour days. So I've got to get to bed. But it's been fun, everybody. Hey, Leslie, thank you for answering people's questions. And hopefully you've made some friends, Leslie and Jason Gibson. You guys could PM each other, personal message each other on Facebook so you can carry on with your conversations. And so everyone that's still listening on here, I go live every Monday. So next Monday, chime in. We'll be talking black bear again next Monday. Maybe go over some more bear recipes and some how-to hunting tactics and tricks and secrets and stuff. So I have 3 coons that I've been tracking. That's awesome, Jeff. I have no idea. Help now I can. Sweet. Awesome. Well, everyone that's been faithful and true and been chiming in here with me on Monday nights, I appreciate it. Hope to see you back here next Monday night. I'll try to be live again at least by 9 p.m. next Monday as well. Hopefully a little earlier by 8:30. But I'll do a YouTube post like I did tonight. I'll post several hours before. Do a YouTube post stating what time I will go live and such. So that way all of you can come on board. So, all right, everybody. William, Trixie, Steve, Jason, Leslie, Jeff, Shooter. All of you, thanks for being here. Till next Monday, all of you have a great night. I hope all of you that are baiting black bear, I hope that your baits start getting hot. Hopefully some bears start visiting your bait sites. And I wish all of you the best of luck this bear baiting season. And hey, awesome. Appreciate that, Leslie. You have a good night too, pal. Hope to see you here next Monday. We're going to talk more about bear grease and bear baiting and such. I think next Monday might talk about like the Western Bear Foundation and other bear foundations we've got like in New England and such and stuff like that. Stuff that we can do to help out as hunters, help the bear hunting continue, and the management of bear and the conservation of bear and bear research and just all that. I want to talk about all the bear foundations and such and bear conservation. Bear hunting in general. So might touch on that a little bit next Monday. Some more stuff about bear grease, bear baiting, recipes and stuff. So good night. Yeah, thanks, Jason. All right, see you all next Monday night.